Something that Lightwright really is wonderful for is the notation of focus notes. So we've had a look at our worksheet, we've had a look at layout. So in this video, we're going to have a quick look at focus. So any unit that in our maintenance instrument setup has that circled F turned on will get a line like this, which is basically a template that allows you to record your focus notes about this particular unit. In the reference manual that is on the computer that you've installed Lightwright on, you'll see the anatomy of a focus chart, which is an image that John McKernan, who made Lightwright, has put in there to explain how to use this template. As long as you agree with whoever is going to read this on a system, it doesn't really matter exactly how you use it, but this is a good place to start. So in these focus notes, you have your column header, which just gives you a bit of information about what it is you're looking at, which unit, what kind of unit it is, you know, some bits of information, the purpose, very useful in there as well. And then it gives you the space to put in some information. Now, designer location, this is a way of referencing where you should be standing when you're calling the focus. So in this example here, it says 4R at 8. So basically, this is quite an old style referencing. If you look at rep houses, like for example Glyndebourne Opera, they still operate with something like that, and what they have is a reference grid. I've got a picture here of an example. So there's this focus tape that you can lay out on the stage with reference numbers on it. So you've got R1, R2, R3, and so on stage right, and then L1, L2, and so on stage left. You're starting, this is the setting line, so it goes 1, 2, and so on upwards from there, from downstage to upstage. And then you have A1 and A2, and if you had you know, more space on the apron, that would be continuing down that way. So this gives you a coordinate grid that you can use to then notate where the designer stands to call the focus. You don't have to use exactly this kind of grid. You don't actually have to have the exact tape to be using this kind of reference grid, because you can rough it in. But obviously, the more precise you want these to be, the more, you know, detailed you should be in what this is. So again, it's a case of agreeing what this means. So you could make your numbers meters, you could make yours feet. It really is just important that everyone knows what they are. So for example, in one of the examples that I've got, I believe in here, we were using A, B, C, D, E zones on stage. If I scroll down, I think you can see it more clearly here. So the stage, in terms of upstage to downstage, was divided into A, B, C, D, E, and so on. And then from left to right, we only really, you know, some measurements or rougher ideas like downstage left, downstage center, to notate where you should be standing to then call the focus from. Noting it like this makes it really, really useful, because it means you don't really have to think much as you're using your notes. So if you've just done a fit up and you are already really tired, it's great to have paperwork in front of you that allows you to just read it and do what it says on there. So it's a really useful thing to do in prep, because it'll speed up the focus massively. Of course, it is also a useful thing to use as a notation for if you are going on a tour, or if you're documenting a show for an archive, because this will allow you to recreate the focuses very precisely. So you've got your numbers up here where you can put in, say, you know, I don't know, R3, you know, at 3, so that would be, oh, I didn't press enter, of course, remember to press enter, R3, enter. So that would mean, you know, you stand stage right 3, so 3 feet or 3 meter. Again, you need to make sure people know what it is you're talking about, and then 3 meters or units or feet upstage. You can make notes on scenery. Obviously, stay off the wall, stay off the desk, stay off the bed, whatever is there. General notes to show what it is any kind of focus note you might want to give. Some idea about the beam. Is it spotted all the way in? Is it somewhere in between? Is it roughly in the middle? Is it flooded as far as it can go? If you need to undo one of these selections, you just click on the name label at the front and it'll clear this field again. Axis is more for park hands, so your orientation of the lamp you can put in here, and again clear it by pressing axis. And then shutter cuts or barn doors. You can have a field for upstage, downstage, stage right, stage left, top and bottom. So lots of fields. You don't have to use all of them. In fact, most of the time you won't use all of them, but use the relevant ones, and it's a really useful template to quickly fill in lots and lots of information to record a precise focus. Another really handy part of these focus notes is the little graphic back here. If you click on this, you get an empty field in which you can draw using these tools. So you could use a circle and give yourself, a drawing. You can then also select that oval again and delete it. But you can set a background, which is an extremely useful feature. At the moment, the default is blank, and it doesn't have anything in here. You can either load pictures in per unit, which is something you would do if, for example, you were using, photos of specials, like here. You wouldn't want to use this particular photo as a background for everything. But if you have something like this, might be a good template to use as a default. So what I would normally do is in my Vectorworks drawing, I would create a view that shows me my focus zones, my focus areas, however I would divide the stage up, and then create a small image file from that. And then in Lightwright, I can either place that in the units that I want, or I can go into Setup, Focus Charts, and in here, choose a default background picture. So I've made one earlier for another show, which I'm just going to use as an example. I'll put it in my Lightwright resources folder that I created for, the show image and that sort of thing. Set focus image. This one is a PNG. You can use JPEGs, PNG, bitmap. I don't think you can use pict files. I think there's an issue with those on Windows, but that's it. Now I can set this as a default. You can also have a cover page, which would be good to make a sort of, you could use this anatomy, where have I put it now? Here we go. This kind of thing as a sort of general key to how to read the focus notes as a cover. If you wanted to create your own image, or you could just use this one. And then once you've put that in, it means on every single one of these you have a pre-made box that you can then fill in, where on this set your light is. You might want to put in some cuts to say, cut it off the wall here, cut it off there, and that's it. Now it has stored this image to this particular lantern, and in my focus sheets, let's go back into our layouts. I can have a look at, down here I've got a focus chart where I can then have this laid out nicely and shown in graphics. You have options here to make the graphics larger, focus chart objects. So you have small, medium, large, or custom chart. You can have certain labels turned on or off. You can change how they're laid out as well. And it goes from no image to jumbo, to depending on how detailed you want to have these. And then you can make a PDF and take that in with you to do the focus